You ever look at some tech companies and wonder, how are they so unbeatable? Meanwhile, other companies with brilliant ideas just, poof, they disappear. Well, here's the secret. It's not about having the best product. Not at all. It's about having the best defense. So let's get right into it, because today we're breaking down the whole idea of digital moats.
You know, in today's world, having a great product is just the entry fee. It gets you in the door, but it absolutely does not guarantee you'll win the game. The real question, the one that truly matters for survival, is a whole lot tougher. It's what separates the flashes in the pan from the true empires. And there it is. That's the billion-dollar question. Every single digital business has to have a good answer for this, because if you don't, you are a sitting duck. In the world of bits and bytes, things move at the speed of light, and your customers can be gone in a click. So you think you've got this incredible one-in-a-million idea? Well, the tough part is someone else has probably thought of it too. An idea all by itself has zero defense. It's completely exposed. And what about that killer new feature you and your team spent months perfecting? Guess what? A competitor with deep pockets can just throw a team at it and clone it in a few weeks. That edge you had? It's gone. It's like a sugar rush. Feels great for a minute, but it fades fast.
And don't even think about competing on price. That is a race to the bottom. There's always, and I mean always, someone out there willing to lose money for longer than you can just to steal your customers. So, if it's not the idea, not the features, and not the price, what is left?
Well, the answer is a moat. But we're not talking about medieval castles with big ditches of water. Nope, we're talking about something totally different. Invisible, powerful digital barriers that protect a business from attack.
The whole concept actually comes from the legend himself, Warren Buffett. And yeah, he was talking about traditional businesses, but the idea is maybe even more important today. A good moat gives a company a lasting competitive advantage. It's what keeps the barbarians at the gate. And this right here shows you the huge shift. On the left, you've got the old school moats, owning giant factories, filing for patents, controlling your distribution with fleets of trucks. But on the right, that's the new playbook. These moats are invisible. They're built from user networks, mountains of data, and making it a real pain for customers to leave you. This table just nails why this stuff is so critical now. When your competition is literally the entire globe and any good feature gets copied in a heartbeat, you have to play a different game. It's not about defending one little product anymore. It's about building a whole ecosystem that your customers never want to leave.
So what are these digital fortresses actually made of? Let's break down the four most powerful types. And we're going to start with the undisputed king of them all. All right, first up, network effects. This is the holy grail of digital moats. It's this beautiful, self-reinforcing loop where the more popular you get, the more valuable you become. Think about it. The more of your friends who are on WhatsApp, the more you have to be on WhatsApp too. Each new user makes the service better for everyone else.
And, you know, they come in a few different flavors. You've got direct network effects, like WhatsApp, where more users just means more people to talk to. Simple. Then you have indirect ones, like Uber. More drivers attract more riders, which, you guessed it, attracts even more drivers. It's a two-sided market. And then there are the data-driven ones, like Netflix. Every single movie you watch helps their algorithm get smarter at recommending movies for me and for everyone else.
Next up, we have switching costs. This one is all about making it a real headache for your customers to leave. I mean, can you imagine trying to move your entire company off of Salesforce or having to learn a brand new design program after you've already mastered the whole Adobe suite? The bigger the pain to leave, the deeper and wider your moat is.
And that brings us to the data advantage. See, the data itself is a moat. It's an asset that compounds over time. The more data a company like Google or TikTok gathers, the smarter their AI gets, the better the experience becomes for you, and the harder it is for a newcomer to even think about catching up. They're starting from scratch, while the giants are years and trillions of data points ahead.
So all of this feeds into something incredible called the moat flywheel. It is a powerful, unstoppable cycle. Look, it starts with getting more users. Those users give you more data. You use that data to create a better experience, which of course attracts even more users. And it just keeps spinning faster and faster, creating this massive engine of dominance.
Okay, so we've got the theory down. Now let's look at how the biggest names in the game actually do it. How do they build and stack these moats on top of each other to become practically untouchable?
Let's take Google. Their real moat isn't the simple search box you see. No way. It's the unfathomable amount of data behind it. Every single search you've ever made helps train their AI, making the next search just a tiny bit better. Now multiply that by billions of searches every single day,
You end up with an advantage that money literally cannot buy overnight.
Or look at Apple's absolutely brilliant strategy. They control the whole shebang. The hardware, the software, the services. Your iPhone, your Mac, your watch, your iCloud, the App Store, they aren't just separate products. They are all interlocking pieces of one giant, beautifully integrated system. And that strategy directly builds some of the most powerful moats on the planet. Thinking about switching to an Android phone? Okay, but what about all your photos in iCloud, all your iMessage history, your app purchases, your Apple Watch that won't work anymore? The switching costs are massive. Apple doesn't just sell you a phone, they sell you a ticket into an ecosystem that is incredibly hard to leave.
So this is great for the giants, but how can you actually use this kind of thinking? Let's wrap this up with a little playbook you can use to analyze any company's defenses, or maybe even your own.
So you should think of building a moat as a deliberate construction project. First, you lay the foundation. What do you do better than anyone else? Then you build the walls, those barriers that make it painful to leave. And finally, you power up the whole fortress by getting those flywheels spinning, the ones that compound your advantage day after day.
And here they are. These are the questions you have to ask, and you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Could a well-funded competitor copy your core product in 6 months? Does your service actually get better for everyone when a new person signs up? Would your customers really truly feel the pain if they tried to switch to a competitor? If the answers are mostly no, you don't have a moat yet.
So look, if you only remember one thing from all of this, let it be this right here. Features don't win games anymore. Moats do. You have to stop obsessing over the next shiny feature and start obsessing over defensibility. In the brutal world of digital business, a strong moat isn't just nice to have, it's survival.
And this final thought just says it all, doesn't it? The name of the game is not just building something better, it's about building a fortress around what you've made, a fortress so powerful that nobody else can even get close. That, right there, is the power of a digital moat.